Imagine this. You're 9 years old and you're sitting in the classroom on the first day of semester and your teacher is doing icebreakers, asking everyone about their favourite TV shows. For the ordinary kids, they all spout the same. Things like The Simpsons or Friends. Absolute basic bitches. And then, some kids were bold and admitted their favourite was something crazy, like South Park or Family Guy. Those were the kids you didn't want to fuck around with. But then there's you. The anticipation rises as it slowly approaches your turn. But you already know the answer, and you blurt it out confidently. Rugrats! And with that, everyone is laughing. The kids are laughing, the teacher's trying to stifle a laugh, and you're confused as people tell you that's a TV show for babies. Now, for me, I don't need to imagine this. This was a scenario I had when I was younger. Rugrats was a TV show I absolutely loved when I was younger. So when that moment happened, it changed me. But now I want those kids to see me as the man I am now. To see where life has led me. And you too can do that if you subscribe to Noir Reservoir. Was that a little too on the nose? So naturally, one of the obvious purchases my parents made for me was Rugrats Search for Reptar on the PlayStation 1, released in 1998. Search for Reptar sees Tommy and the wee babbies losing their collective shite as they realise that their Reptar puzzle is missing most of its puzzle pieces, as Stu and the freaky Uncanny Valley impersonator of Dee Dee try to calm them down. The player begins as Tommy in the Pickle household, which acts as a hub in the game where the player can access different levels, as he and the other babies search for 11 missing Reptar puzzle pieces, with the player earning a Reptar puzzle piece for each level they complete. Also scattered around these levels are hidden Reptar bars, which give the player a puzzle piece if they collect 15 of them. Each level is based on an episode of the original television show and are sorted based on easy, medium and hard, as well as bonus levels, with the harder and bonus levels being unlockable after beating a few of the easier levels. For the most part, the game plays the same across levels, although some variations exist. For example, let's take one of the first levels, Chucky's Glasses, which features my main man, Chucky, who participates in a game of hide and seek, although he does so without his glasses, with them being taken by Angelica. In it, the player needs to hunt down each Rugrat and find them hiding, like Phil over here. What an absolute loser. Once caught, the player needs to tag the baby and run back to the playpen before they can to win, trying to avoid awkwardly slamming into walls and failing. Luckily I did an ocular pat down before tagging them, so I knew all the shortcuts, including diving off the top of the stairs and breaking my stupid little baby legs, which happens a lot. The controls are not fun. Much like a baby, there is a steep learning curve in trying to learn to move, and it shows here. However, this is the main basis of the gameplay. Each character can run, walk, jump, and awkwardly slam into every wall in existence. Why else do you think Tommy's head is just that big? For Tommy and the kids, they have a health meter, represented by what I hope is apple juice. Some levels also feature their own quirks. While some are racing, some are more explorative ventures, with most being set in the Piggles household, but with different themes, such as spooky scary Alan Wake mode, where everything is pitch black and ghosts are on the prowl to drag you to hell, or even wacky upside down Rugrats house, where Tommy needs to gather all the balloons to return back to the world and no longer be some sort of upside down freak. And not only that, some levels don't actually take place in the Pickles household at all, and take place in separate locations such as the park, which features several geese honking jump scares that are sure to fill your own diapies, or the stinky sewers where Spike falls into shit water and develops typhoid fever. In fact, this level happens to be one of the worst levels in the game for controls, as Spike just flails around and hits off everything, which slowly breaks his bones in a horrifically painful mannerism, as all the player can do is hear the poor dog cry. one of the more difficult levels is Incident on Aisle 7, where Grandpa Lou takes Tommy to the supermarket and proceeds to lose him because he's seriously not a very good guardian for Tommy. Why do Stu and Dee Dee keep trusting him with their son? He literally allows him to fistfight with lobsters. And if that isn't exciting enough, there's even a level set entirely in space, where Angelica fights off aliens a la Dead Space. Remember Angelica, you need to dismember them to beat them. I mean, between Alan Wake and Dead Space, you can see the impact Rugrats Search for Reptar had on the video game industry as a whole. And if you're not scared enough, then how about a visit to Toy Palace, after dark, where all you can hear is the demonic laughter of toys who seem to come alive in a mannerism a lot less like Toy Story and more like Small Soldiers. And who could forget the giant Forg, terrifying wee babies since 1998. This horrified me in all different manners as a kid, as the giant gorilla showed up in Nowhere to terrorise poor Tommy and beat the living shit out of him, as he looks for tiny little boxes to stack to activate Reptar, and have a tiny little kaiju battle between gorilla and dinosaur. These levels tend to be longer, and usually consist of the harder levels, which aren't available until the player passes the game's tests of the easier difficulties. What's that? You think you're ready for this level in a kid's game? Well, to prove your mates, you need to complete these easier levels. Alongside these levels, there are bonus levels such as Touchdown Tommy, where the babies need to bully Angelica by not sharing their chocolate milk with her, which is fine because it probably has that gross baby spit on it. Ugh. And then there are other bonus levels such as No More Cookies, where the babies need to bully Angelica by not sharing their cookies with her. As you can tell, we get a lot of the best morals from Rugrats. There are also some levels that don't feature the typical exploring found in other levels such as Circus Angelicus, where the player enacts a circus routine using Spike to jump over barriers, Phil and Lil pulling some sick parkour moves with their trike, and finally launching the ginger kid into a pile of leaves, like most kids did back then. Perhaps though, the most prominent example is the game's main event, the mini-golf, which is, without a doubt, the best part of the game. Here, the player gets to play through 9 different holes in mini-golf, then playing as different Rugrats every turn. Is it extravagant? No. But is it fun? You bet your sweet IP ass it is. Tiger Woods, eat your heart out. That being said, as the player competes, they are continuously mocked by a commentator who, honestly, needs to get in the fucking sea.
You want a year's supply of nothing.
And they can even be chased by murderous Mr. Friend mummies who are hidden away in the secret pyramid entrance. Spoopy. With all puzzle pieces collected, the kids complete the puzzle and head off to sleep as Tommy begins to dream about Reptar, murdering everyone and destroying the city in the final level of the game. Reptar 2010, set way in the future. Or, if you're like me, assume the level was called Reptar Zolo, whatever that means. But who cares about making sense when you can absolutely destroy everything? Reptar pulverises the entirety of the city as he passes by, including a theatre airing the Rugrats movie, spewing hot fire like a rapper who just took a wing challenge before he finally ends at the City Hall, having an impromptu dance number on the numerous dead bodies he murderized on his way, ending the game. And it's this ending that really bodes many questions. Just what destructive tendency does Tommy have to have a dream like this? Does he take pleasure from the murders of the innocents? That people lost their homes? And why was every playtester for this game called Jason? In the end, we may never know. Want to make sure you don't miss out on the video for Rugrats Studio Tour? Then make sure you don't forget to subscribe to Noir Reservoir and click the little bell down there to get up to date on all future Noir Reservoir videos. And if you want to help support the channel, please consider liking the video and sharing it with any Rugrat aficionados you think will appreciate it. And finally, why not consider following my Twitter for all the dank memes? I'm sure you won't regret it. Probably. So until next time, my friends, I'll catch you later.